Good morning. Today I'm formal because it's June and we're not meeting at church. And today I'd like to discuss a couple passages that we can prove. And I'm going to use the Bible, and then I'm going to read an article by a very left-leaning individual to prove these two passages are true. I've already gone over them. I call them the hard passages to live. And those are Philippians 4:11. Philippians 4:11. Easy to read, hard to live. It takes a lifetime of doctrine being built up, a daily intake of Bible doctrine. What's helping me lately is at night we pull out the Kindle Fire, we go to YouTube, and we listen to all the old hymns. And we fall asleep to that. And so when your mind is on God, when you go to bed, I must stay on it all night. It's because you just wake up. And then you get to work.
Who does that? Online. I know, but who are they?
Just YouTube.
They're not like a church.
No, people upload hymns. The surprising thing that, like the Johnny Cash show in the early 70s, he had so much gospel on there. It just... I'm looking, this was primetime TV. I don't remember it. Now I know why I don't remember the show. We never watched it in our house. But it was a part of our life. Just a few decades ago, primetime TV had good gospel songs on their show. So Philippians 4:11, one of the principles here in the Pauline dispensation is, not that I speak of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content. And what's the thing is, everyone goes to verse 13, I can do all things through Jesus Christ, which strengthen me. And they forget about verse 11. It says, not that I speak in respect of want, not that I want anything, for I have learned a learned process in whatsoever state I am, wherewith to be content. And then verse 12 is beautiful because he gives some little small practical applications. I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound everywhere, and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be what? Hungry. Both to abound and to what? Suffer need. And why can't he get through all those things when he suffers need? I can do all things, and the things listed are from the previous verses, through Christ Jesus, which strengthened me. And what do we think? We think material things bring happiness. And the other one is 1 Timothy 6:8. Which says, in having food and raiment, let us be therewith, again, content. Food and clothing, I can do all things. I've learned to be content in whatever situation I am. That's really a status of a believer. And Linda shared with me a verse, and I love it, but we're never satisfied in this flesh. We always want more. And she showed me Psalm 17:15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be, and the verse says, satisfied. There is a point in our new bodies we will be satisfied. On the earth, we never are, because we have the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and the lust of the eyes. Last week, when the pastor was talking, we went to Luke 16, and there's something down here where this person is in torments, waiting the great white throne judgment, and he says some things. We're not going through the whole thing, but it's the last desire of the unsaved is for what? And it says here, the people that unsaved person loved, he doesn't want them to join him. You know, in the beer slapping commercials, all my friends will be in hell, I want to go to hell. It's a lie, because this verse says so. And we'll pick it up in verse 28. It says, for I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torments. So he wants someone to go warn his brothers. Verse 29, Abraham says unto him, they have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. They have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. Let them hear. What more authority do you need than the Word of God? Well, that ain't good enough for me. I want something special just for me. And what I bring this up is I found this article about this guy that got rich. And he's reflecting on his life. And he proves the Bible. But we don't need the Bible. We don't need this guy to say, not that in respect to want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. And I'm going to read this article because I also have problem with that. Finding the more stuff you get, you can't maintain it. I bought that new used Volkswagen. The manual is 600 pages. There's features in there I don't even know exist. And I go, why did I get this thing? It's got too many bells and whistles. And I learned how to set something. I set the, there has an alarm. You can set it. And so if I go 80, it chimes. Well, on some trips, I want to go faster than 80. And I forgot how to reset that up. And I go, this, you know, now I'm flipping through, and now how do you look that up in the index? I want a speed. You know, it just doesn't work. You know, all these contraptions. And the lilac bushes need what? Trimmed. What about the ground under the lilac? They need the weeds pulled, and all this stuff just requiring all my time. And so this is what this article says, living with less, a lot less. And he goes, I live in a 420 square foot studio. Now that is small.
Rich guy.
Yeah. He wasn't always there. I sleep in a bed that folds down from a wall. I have 6 dress shirts. I have 10 shallow bowls that I use for salads and main dishes. When people come over for dinner, I pull out my extended dining room table. I don't have a single CD or DVD, and I have 10% of the books I once did. I have come a long way from this life I had in the 90s when flush with cash from an internet startup sale. I had a giant house crammed with stuff, electronics and cars and appliances and gadgets. Somehow this stuff ended up running my life, or a lot of it. The things I consumed ended up consuming me. My circumstances are unusual. Not everyone gets an internet windfall before turning 30, but my relationship with material things isn't. We live in a world of stuff, of big box stores, 24-hour online shopping opportunities. Members of every social economic bracket can and do deluge themselves with products. There isn't any indication that any of these things makes anyone any happier. In fact, it seems the reverse may be true. For me, it took 15 years, a great love and a lot of travel to get rid of all the inessential things I had collected and now live a bigger, better, richer life with less. It started in 1998 in Seattle when my partner and I sold our internet consulting company SiteWorks for more money than I thought I earned in a lifetime. To celebrate, I bought a 4-store, 3,600 square foot turn-of-the-century house in Seattle's happening Capitol Hill neighborhood, and in a frenzy of consumption, bought a brand new sectional couch, my first ever, a pair of $300 sunglasses, a ton of gadgets, like an Audio.com mobile player, one of the first portable digital music players, and an audio worthy 5-disc CD player, and of course a black turbocharged Volvo with a remote starter. I was working hard for Sightworks' new parent company, Boney, and didn't have time to finish getting everything I needed for my house. So I hired a guy named Steven, who said he had been Courtney Love's assistant, to be my personal shopper. He went to furniture and appliances and electronics stores and took Polaroids of things he thought I would like to fill the house. I shuffled through the pictures and proceeded on a virtual shopping spree. My success and the things it bought me quickly changed from novel to normal. Soon I was numb to it all. The new Nokia phone didn't excite me or satisfy me. It didn't take long before I started to wonder why my theoretical upgraded life didn't feel any better and why I felt more anxious than before. My life was unnecessarily complicated. There were lawns to mow, gutters to clean, floors to vacuum, roommates to manage. It's nuts to have such a big empty house. A car to insure, wash, refill, repair, register, and auto repairs set up, things to keep working. And to top it all, I had to keep 7 busy with my personal shopper busy. And really, I needed a personal shopper. Who would I become? My house and my things were my new employers for a job I've never applied for. It got worse. Soon after we sold our company, I moved east to work in the corporate office in New York, where I rented a 1,900 square foot saw hole loft that befit my station as a new tech entrepreneur. The new pad needed furniture, housewares, electronics, which took more time, more energy to manage. And because the place was so big, I again felt obligated to get roommates who required more time, more energy to manage. I still had this Seattle house, so I find myself worrying about 2 homes. So I decided to stay in New York. It cost a fortune and took months of cross-country trips and big headaches to close on this Seattle house and get rid of all the stuff inside. I'm lucky. Obviously, not everyone gets windfall from a tech startup sale, but I'm not the only one whose life is cluttered with excess belongings. In a study published last year titled Life at Home in the 21st Century, researchers at UCLA observed 32 middle-class Los Angeles families and found that all the mother stress hormones spiked during the time they spent dealing with their belongings. 75% of the families involved in the study couldn't park their cars in their garages. Because they were too jammed with things. Our fondness for stuff affects almost every aspect of our lives. Housing side, for example, has ballooned in the last 60 years. The average size of the new American home in 1950 was 983 square feet. By 2011, the average new home was 2,480 square feet. And those figures don't provide a full picture. In 1950, an average of 3.37 people lived in each American home. In 2011, that number had shrunk to 2.6 people. This means we take up more than 3 times the amount of space per capita than we did 60 years ago. And, this is my problem, apparently our supersized homes don't provide enough space for all our possessions, as is evidenced by our country's $22 billion personal storage industry. What exactly are we storing away in the boxes we cart away from place to place? Much of what American consumes doesn't even find its way into boxes or storage spaces, but winds up in the garbage. National Resource Defense Council reports that 40% of food American buys finds its way into the trash, not just the stuff. So, does all this endless consumption result in measurably increased happiness? In a study by Northwestern University, it linked consumption with antisocial behavior. He found that irrespective of personality, in situations that activate a consumer mindset, people show some sort of problematic patterns in well-being, including negative effects and social disengagement. Well, of course you're going to disengage. You got so much stuff to manage. How can you disengage? How can you engage in people's life? Though American consumer activities has increased substantially since the 1950s, happiness levels have flatlined. So apparently our stuff isn't bringing us happiness, according to just, scientific observation. And he goes on, it says, I live smaller and travel lighter. I have more time and money. Aside from my travel habit, which I try to keep in check by minimizing trips, combining trips and all that stuff, I feel better. We know that the best stuff in life isn't stuff at all, and that relationships, experience, and meaningful work are the staples of a happy life. Well, what's he missing? He still has that big looming thing called what? Death, Dr. Death. What about that, Mr. Hill? I like material things as much as anyone. I study product design in school. I'm into gadgets, clothing, and all kind of things. But my experience shows that after a certain point, material objects have a tendency to crowd out the emotional needs that are meant to support. I'm still a serial entrepreneur. And, he goes on. My space, he concludes the article with, is small. My life is big. Again, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, but the all things there, the two important things they leave out are learning to be content with what you have. Because you can't be an ambassador when you're busy what? Tending to your stuff. And that was my tidbit message for today.
So what you're saying is you should have a giant church garage sale. Get rid of everybody's stuff.
We need to tax consumption. Raise those taxes.